Hey, what's going on? You're now tuned in to the PVD Horror Podcast. I'm Brandon, and I'm joined by my co-host Dave. And today we have a special guest. We have Justin from the Epic Film Guys podcast. This is our monthly horror recap episode. Today we're gonna focus on all the cool shit that happened in the month of August. Justin, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you taking the time out. How's your summer been, man?
Oh,
I,
fantastic. Fantastic summer. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better summer, honestly, in terms of all the shit that I've had my hands into with reviewing stuff on our show, the stuff I've been doing at Alamo Drafthouse. It just
Mhm.
overall, and I have to say this much, Talk to Me made summer worth it for me in terms of being
Yeah,
a horror fan. So I'm having a great time. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
And thanks for having me on. Absolutely an honor to be on the show tonight.
no doubt. I can't believe it's already August, man. It just fucking flew by, and it doesn't even feel like it's like freezing down here. You're down in like the DC area, right?
Yeah, and I just drank a pumpkin coffee today from Starbucks. I've been waiting for fucking weeks for this
Yeah.
shit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, I ate a pumpkin muffin. I'm like, and I had to explain this to somebody. I said, listen, like, it's fine if you still want to pretend it's summer. For me, once August hits, that's the beginning of fall for me. I need at least
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
full months of it. Like, that's what I
Mhm.
need for my own, mental health, well-being, all that stuff. So I'm all about it. Yeah. I want the
Yeah.
cool weather too. Bring it on.
If you like all things horror and want to get the best horror news, interviews, and reviews,
Like, subscribe, and ring that bell to follow us and satisfy all your horror needs.
I'm
Yeah,
waiting
it was
there.
funny. My wife came in the house the other day with a pumpkin spice coffee and a muffin for me. I'm like, here we go. It's time.
It
Yep.
is time.
Yep.
All hail the Pumpkin King.
So, hey, Justin, you mentioned Alamo Drafthouse. We don't have any of those over here. I always hear amazing things about them. Can you describe like what you guys do at the Alamo?
What we do is the most amazing thing known to man that has to do with movies. This is my mindset when I first witnessed one myself, and I promised myself, no matter what I do for my normal day job, that I'll be a part of this company at some point. The company literally strives itself in being able to show repertory screenings of older movies, particularly cult genre movies, and giving a safe place for cinephiles to come and enjoy those movies without having to deal with people with their cell phones out talking. We have a very strict no talking, no text rule. And there is this respect factor that it kind of just surrounds the entire theater when you're there. If anyone talks or texts or disrupts the theater, you raise an order card and someone will literally remove that person from the theater. No refund, nothing. I've been involved with the company for about 7 or 8 years now, and it's been a blessing. I get to do so many amazing fun things, booking movies you would never expect
Yeah.
to see get booked in a large theater. But yeah, it's really just a theater chain that prides itself in cinema, which is
That's so cool.
Mhm.
very unheard of these days. I mean, it really is the only one over here. Over here, the most you'll get, is like a Fathom event or whatever, where
Oh.
like 1 or 2 nights in 1 month you'll get like a special screening of John Carpenter's Halloween or some shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But at Alamo, no, you're gonna come. You're going to get an intro from someone involved in the movie. You're going to get Michael Myers dressed up to greet the audience. You're going to get a 4K DCP of the movie presented with proper sound. Like, you're going to get the best experience. So that in a nutshell, we are the best theater chain on the planet.
That
There you
sounds
go.
awesome. It's like exactly what we do up here in Rhode Island, in our own way, but like that's awesome that you guys are able to do that
Well,
with
you have some not that far from you, right? How far are the New York locations from you?
yeah, probably
About
like
like
3 hours,
3
I would
hours.
assume. Yeah.
My first time to one, I actually traveled that far to go to one, and that was the experience that said, to me at least, you need to do something with this company no matter what it is. So I'm
Yeah.
very grateful, very thankful to be a part of it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so for everyone that's not aware, William Friedkin, the Oscar award-winning director who terrified audiences for years with the film The Exorcist, passed away on August 7th at the age of 87. Justin, you were able to go celebrate the life and legacy of Williams with a special vigil at the Exorcist steps. Can you tell us a little bit about that day?
Sure. I'd be more than happy to. It was an honor of mine. a few years ago to be able to meet William Friedkin and William Peter Blatty at the steps when the actual city of Georgetown commemorated those steps to both of them. You know, there's a plaque right next to them that says the Exorcist Steps and recognizes the cultural significance of that location. We told a little bit about that story on our show because my co-host had a different experience with William Friedkin than I did. You know, all things considered, he had a Sharpie thrown at his face from William.
Oh man.
Because he did a signing. Great guy. But you know, I heard through the grapevine that the same people that put on that steps commemoration event would be doing a vigil. And I told my wife I absolutely have to go to this thing where, you know, I used to be much closer to DC. We're like a little over an hour out of the way. But we had a nice dinner beforehand. We stopped down and they had the movie showing on a blow-up screen. They had, you know, music playing. They had a beautiful table filled with photos of William from his youth as well as from the event where he commemorated the steps. And it was just something I felt that I needed to be there for, considering the way that I consider William is he's the kind of filmmaker that we don't have anymore. You know, he was, the way that I put it, he was an original when you heard him speak about filmmaking and films in general. And luckily the gentleman that put on the event, I will not name them, but they were actually very close friends with Billy, as they called him. And they helped him on I think his last project that he did, which was a documentary on real exorcisms. I will say this much. Don't watch it. I love Billy Friedkin, but it was something. But you know, hearing them tell me stories about when he would come into town randomly because he had a place to live there, and he would always visit the steps every time he came into town, and he would tell these stories every time about what it was like making this movie. And you know, just to be there again at that location. When you live in the DC Georgetown area, I feel like every time you're near that location, you have to stop and take a picture, run up the steps, pretend like you fell down them. You know, it's just kind of like what horror fans do in this area. But to be there and just, you know, commemorate this great filmmaker's legacy was really special. And it meant a lot to me to be there and just to hear, you know, everyone talking about their memories of knowing him and meeting him. And, you know, I mean, that location specifically, you go up the steps, there's the Exorcist house as well, is so important to DC in general. You know, just blew my fucking mind when he passed away, but we all go at some time. It was just, you know, I'll never get tired of listening to him talk about movies. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Now, are you ready for the remake? What do you think about that?
Oh, you know, myself and Blumhouse have a very distinct relationship. You know, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna be open-minded to it. David Gordon Green has done some interesting things to me where he's really blew my mind and made me really happy. And then he disappointed me to the point where I felt like I needed to go into therapy for 3 months. You know, I don't think I'll say it right now. I don't think he's the right guy for Exorcist. I think he got the job because, hey, you made the Halloween movies $1 billion, whatever it was. I mean, I know it was a lot of money. I know his 2018 movie broke records and stuff. And he's a great director. He's a great creative mind. I just don't necessarily think he's the right guy for Believer. I thought the trailer looked terrible. I when I saw it in theaters with Oppenheimer, there were the unintentional laughs at the trailer. But you know, here I digress. Though it's just a trailer. I'll still see it with an open mind, and I hope that, you know, I'm blown away by it. I hope at least, at the very least, I think just it's fine. You know what I mean? Like it's a fine movie. We'll see though. I mean, he's good at first parts. Trilogies, not so much, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly. Because me and Dave, we talked about that, and just seeing the trailer itself, it was just like too long. And like Dave said, it's like he had something to prove with them just kind of trying to show too much of it. I don't know. Yeah, like you said, I agree with you too. I don't think the job's for him. You know, I wish they would have gone with someone else. because to tell you the truth, I wasn't a fan of the Halloween films from like the Halloween Ends or Halloween Kills. You know what I mean? Those two, like the first 2018 was okay, but like you said, I don't think that he can do like handle a trilogy.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Happy, like you said, I'll be happy if it's just fine. If
Yeah.
it's just something to watch,
Mhm.
I'll be fine with that. I'm not going to go in with like huge expectations or expect it to be anything more than that. So hopefully it can that mediocre bar, and I'll be good.
Well, I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you guys followed it all. I'll keep it quick on this, but I know a few people that have seen the test screenings, and I've heard some stuff about it, and I'm not going to reveal any of that stuff. I was just told like he needs to change a whole shitload of whatever he had done by that point if he
Oh,
wants the
geez.
movie to be good. So, I mean,
Yeah.
again, you're making a movie that is a direct sequel to The Exorcist. I mean, 40 how many fucking years now? 50 years almost, you
Yeah.
know, after the date at this point, and it's like granted, like I get it. We're in this world where you're gonna take an old property and you're gonna requel it, sequel it, remake it, whatever. Like I'm always fine with that. Like I get it. That's the
Mhm.
way it works. But I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Right.
So that's where I lay with that one.
Mm-hmm. I hear
All
you.
right. So let's hop up on the next topic. We're gonna get into like video games. We just able to celebrate Texas Chainsaw Massacre Day. Shout out to everyone at Gun Interactive. They just released the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. And on the first day, man, they just broke some records. They had over 1 million players in 24 hours. It's crazy. Like I'm a big fan of this game. Just it's been crazy just playing it. I've been playing on PlayStation and Xbox. Have you guys played it yet?
I downloaded it. I have not gotten to it yet, so I plan to. I don't know why I'm not making more time to do it. I just got it. I know one I'm not going to be able to pull myself from it, so I'm like I got to like allot myself enough time. But yeah, I'm super excited for it.
What
I
about
I
you, Justin?
myself I'm not the biggest gamer anymore. Honestly, the last
Yeah,
game that I bought a system for, can you guys guess what it was?
Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
That's
there it was.
yeah, that's the same with me. I
Yeah,
like pretty much barely play, but I played
Yeah.
that a ton, so I know it's going to be the same.
yeah, and I made sure I was like, no, I'm not gonna play it until I get the actual physical disc because I'm that fucking old school. But it
Yeah.
Yeah,
looks great. It sounds great. I've heard so many great things about it.
Hmm.
I honestly can't wait to play around with it. Those kinds of games. To me, are like the reason why I would want to play a game. Because growing up, I think much like all of our generations, like we were just the gamers automatically.
Hmm.
It was just
yeah.
part of the zeitgeist, what you did. But I stopped like in my mid 20s. I played in bands and I got into doing the movie stuff, and I was like, I don't have that much time to dedicate to this
Yeah.
with everything else
Mhm.
going on. But with something like this, that's such an event, I mean, it's Texas Chainsaw game.
Yeah.
You got to get into it. You got to try it out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
So Brandon, you've been playing. I know he doesn't want us to compare, but like playability, fun, like compared to the Friday the 13th game, what do you think?
I think they had taken this game to the next level because I've been playing with a lot of our followers too. So
Yeah,
I like the way they added it on because it's not just Leatherface chasing you, kind of just how like Friday the 13th is just Jason, but now it added like a team, strategy on both sides, so now you're going with Leatherface, you have the cook, you have the hitchhiker and two other characters they made up. It was like Sissy, and it's cool because you can work together, and you just have to like each side you go into it just like the like Friday the 13th. Your
Mhm.
whole thing was to escape Camp Crystal Lake, get away from
Yeah,
Jason. With this, you have so many ways to get out, just like Friday the 13th. But you can work together as a team, and like I said, now the killers you can work together as a team too, because you have to like make sure you can put like locks on the doors, and try to stop everyone from doing stuff. You have to also when you kill someone, you can go and feed grandpa, so to kind of like help he helps you. So it's crazy because as soon as you feed him and you get him up to level 5, like no one can hide. So it's like on the map, like everyone's kind of like glowing and you can just go for a free for all and just try to kill everyone. It's been a wild ride, man. I think you guys
yeah,
would definitely like it.
awesome.
Me and Ronnie from Gun Interactive, we plan on doing a live stream soon to kind of play the game together. So we're gonna try to figure something out the time. So I don't know if you guys want to get on the system and try
Yeah,
to play with us. That'd be cool. The invite's open.
I will definitely try to hop on. I like playing video games, but I suck royally at them.
Yeah.
So I know that
I
was
second
like
that.
even
I
with,
second that. I suck as well. I mean,
even
come
with like
on.
Friday the
I gotta
13th.
be
I
honest.
I loved playing, but I was horrible
I
at
gotta tell
Yeah.
you,
playing.
my kid was sitting there. What are you doing? Where are you going? What
Yeah.
it was like this event where I was like, I can't wait for this to get here. We're gonna play the game, and she was like, you
Yeah.
suck at this, and you should have been better at this point. And I'm like, but I haven't played a video game in like at that point it had been like a couple years, whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
I go when I go to arcades, I play video games, but you know what I mean, like sitting down to play a game the way that we
Exactly.
think of it today.
Yep.
I'm just
Yeah.
not that guy. Whatever. At least I admit it.
I took
Yeah.
my headset off because everybody was talking shit about me. So I was
Yeah.
like, I don't care.
What's this guy doing? You fucking
Yeah, they
noob.
were like, what's he doing? Like, never mind.
Yeah, I sucked in the Friday the 13th game, but I think that just experience of playing these games are kind of cool. It's fun, I mean,
Yeah.
because we're big fans of horror, and it's kind of,
Yeah.
just playing the games and enjoying it. And just I don't hop on the game and play for hours and hours, but I'll just hop on, get a few games in, enjoy the experience. So
Is there an offline mode?
no, nope.
No, not yet. I'm sure there will be at some point, like they did with Friday the 13th.
Yeah. All right. So Justin, you had made a post on your page a while back about the new Carmella Creeper cereal, man. It's been crazy. General Mills has added a new character to the annual cereal squad. And myself and Dave, we talked about this like a few years ago, talking about how they should add on a new character, add a new flavor, do something. And then they released the Monster Mash. And so now we have the Carmella Creeper cereal. I haven't been able to try it yet, but Dave, did you try it yet?
Yeah,
Also?
I got the remix, the Monster Mash remix.
All right,
The
so
new,
you guys
the
need to
new
tell
remix.
me.
Yeah, the new remix, right? With Carmella
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. I
So-
just put up a video actually, like just like an hour ago, that I made yesterday when I tried it. I mean, I really can't test a new character. It's like caramel apple flavor.
Yeah.
It's in the remix, so I gotta like buy the whole box of hers to really understand what it's tastes like. But
It doesn't taste anything like caramel apple, really. I mean,
Yeah, it
there's a
is.
very faint flavor there. And it's just that, honestly, since the monster cereals have gone modern, I've noticed this where like they have the same fakey sweet flavor in all of them. And then you'll
yes,
get
yeah.
this little tiny hint of whatever the original flavor. Hey, I kind of remember Count Chocula. I kind of remember Frankenberry. And half the time, I'm not going to lie, when I'm eating these cereals, it's after I'm recording a podcast. I've had 5 drinks of fucking vodka, and I was like, you know what? I want some blueberry. And then my wife's like, you don't even remember what the fuck that tastes like. And I'm like, no, I don't, but I'm pretending like I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I mean, honestly, Carmella, compared to the others, though, because I did get, when I got it, it was part of the Sam's Club pack where it had, all 4 of them, and it's definitely the sweetest. But it pissed me off that people got angry about the character. I'm like, come on, for real, like it's 2023. It's not like the cereal's fucking woke or anything. I'm like, give a female character. And people were like, well, it's kind of like
I know
Monster High a little bit. And I go, you know what though, at the same time, we all complain that we don't have these cereals all year round anymore. But wouldn't it be cool if we did? And if a cereal like this that kind of lended itself to a younger generation of people, like, hey, this is kind of cool, where it was able to be, more available all year round. So, the art design on the cover of the cereal and the character, yes, she's a zombie DJ. I'm with it. I'm like, that's cool. A goth zombie DJ. I'm like, those are like all my girlfriends and stuff like that I know, And so it's like, I'm down with that. My daughter literally looks like that. So it's like, cool, the flavor, I like the idea, the execution. It's just like all the sweet cereals now. Like I legitimately try to capture something out of my palate that's like, ooh, this is this or this. Not really. It all kind of tastes like just fake sugary. But I'm glad they finally came out with a new character. At the same time, though, my boy Yummy Mummy, Brew, those two, they still haven't. We need them.
They're on the box too. They're on the remix box.
Yeah, well, that was the problem with last year's remix, is that they're like, this isn't really a remix. You're gonna get like, we're just putting in pieces of this that could
Yeah.
possibly be. It's not really just all of them thrown together. The Monster Mash from last year, that was, which I have a box of that unopened in the other room from here, because I was like, maybe in 5 years, I'll open it and try it again. But the Yummy Mummy was like, there was an ongoing thing on our show 5 or 6 years ago. We had a character on the show that I did, and those that have listened to my show know it. And he strangely sounded like Yummy Mummy. And I think that it was just my inner child bringing that character out again. It was a drunk hobo hipster guy. That's what they called him. And he sounds identical to Yummy Mummy. That's a Yummy Mummy, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly happy to see, looking on social media and stuff, like seeing people excited that these serials are coming out again every year. It's always an event for everyone. You go out, you find it, you take videos and pictures. And I think especially for people, a little bit older in the age frame like myself, get to share it with your kids, or it's a cool thing. We used to have that shit all year round. I remember I'd be eating blueberry all year round. But
yeah, like you said, man, it's smart. It's the marketing to sit there and do it, because you look at it, it's 35 years later, so it's like now it's a new crowd. And like you said, it's cool to sit there. Like, I have younger kids, so it's cool. Like, what I mean? So I have a daughter, she's 5. And so that will, she will attract to that, because it's like, that's what she's into now, those dolls and stuff, and then want that cereal. And so it's kind of cool. They made like little glimpses of like who Carmella is. She's a long lost cousin of Frankenberry. So it's like, it's cool to kind of like add stuff on, so
yeah,
I'm for it.
Yeah,
bring it on. Just give me more of it. That's what I'm all about. Just, hey, it's there. Do something with it. Why not?
Exactly.
Yep. Give me a monster cereal movie while you're at it. I mean,
exactly.
Hotel Transylvania, those movies, say what you want about them, but for a younger audience, they did a lot for those kids to be able to get into these old school horror characters. I could see like, them teaming up in a versus movie or something, there's a lot to be in there,
So now, if they were to make another cereal next year, what would you want to see? What kind of flavors? What kind of characters? What would you roll with?
That's a very interesting question, because Carmella is a zombie type. We've had, all the original Universal monsters pretty much done over. How about a slasher character?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like, it would be so. I mean, it would be very hard to do, because what are you going to have him like stabbing his knife through a piece of cereal or something? I mean, I know that the Funko cereals did like Jason cereals and Freddy cereals and all that. They were terrible though. They were terrible cereals though. They were just cool, like, hey, that you had it. But, I can't really think of anything. The one thing they haven't done though, they haven't done a Creature from the Black Lagoon type cereal. They haven't done a Creature cereal. So you could do, I know Carmella took the green, but you could do something with that maybe. That's an idea.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm down for that. Because I think we were talking about something about like some Wolfman nuts a few years ago.
Yeah.
Some shit.
Yeah,
it was just
like
a weird conversation.
Something like that, yeah.
And they did it.
Like Nut and Honey. Remember Nut and Honey?
Yeah.
Nut and Honey.
You could do something like Wolfman's got something like that. There you go.
Yeah.
Was,
I do hope they give Mummy and fruit individual cereals again, because I would like to have those boxes out there.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate when they did it last year that they changed the flavor profile of those two a little bit, when they used to be different back in the late 80s, early 90s. But I'm just happy that they included them.
Yeah.
Now, what would you rate that cereal out of a 10 so far?
I did say something in my TikTok just because I hoped they would notice, but I would probably, in reality, if I'm being honest, compared to the other cereals, it would probably be a 7 or 8 out of 10. It would be right up there, because now with the way they flavor these cereals, they're, like I said a few moments ago, they're all kind of similar in their flavor profile, just very light hints of whatever the flavor is supposed to be. So yeah, I would give Carmella like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Yeah.
Not bad. I'll have to find it. I can't find it anywhere yet. Where'd you find it, Dave? That remix box.
I got but I think I like New York when I got it because
Okay.
yeah, I couldn't find it over here yet.
Yeah, there's nothing down here. All right. Well, let's move on. For all the Scream fans, just last week, we were able to get the Scream 3 assembly cut that leaked online, which gave us about 20 more minutes of footage that was cut from the original film. I could see why some things were cut, but this footage helped fans understand what they were really trying to do with this film. Like they kind of gave us a new opening with Cotton, more dialogue with Ghostface and Sydney, and a final funnier words from Randy. What did you guys think about the assembly cut? If you guys have checked it out yet?
Yeah, I didn't get to see it yet, but I knew that this existed because I feel like we had this conversation like a while ago when we
Hmm.
were dream movies, something about this with Scream 3. So I'm check it out because I know we were left that film with like so many questions, like what exactly was the direction they were trying to go here.
Yeah.
I'm definitely
It was sent to me very quickly after we actually did a guest spot on the Scream podcast
Mm.
with our good friend Ryan C. Showers. It has not released yet.
Mm.
Because that's how he rolls. He just loads up his content and then just pushes it out whenever he does. But it was like the day or two after that I think Christopher Landon was announced as the new director for the next film when someone just
Hmm.
put it in my inbox on Twitter. And I mean, I watched a couple of the clips that were released, or not released rather, but like that people posted that were eventually removed. I've just been trying to find the time to sit down because I really want to soak it in.
Yeah.
Because as I've said on his show, he's an avid defender of part 3. It's his favorite of the franchise. And he actually led me down a path of a new understanding of that movie and a new appreciation. And I just want to, I really want to see more of it. We know it came out at a time where it was difficult. I mean, it was post Columbine where the studios like, can't do this, can't do that,
Hmm.
got to do this. And we know that Wes's hands were tied in a lot of ways, and he didn't have Williamson there to do what he was used to doing with the previous two, and then what he did later on. So I'm very excited. The idea that this is out there for fans to watch is so exciting. I mean, like I just experienced something very similar to this last month when I saw the Joel Schumacher cut of Batman Forever at Kevin
Yep.
Smith's theater when he secretly screened it. When he showed it to us at 3 in the fucking morning, and I got to watch that, and that was, you know, that led to our biggest episode of all time on our show because there
Hmm.
were so many people that were interested in that. So I assume that there's going to be just as much, if not more, interest in this cut of Scream 3, which to me is awesome because for the longest time, and I'm a victim of it as well, or rather, like I was part of that where 3 was always kind of like the black sheep.
Hmm.
And now it's like in retrospect, you look at it and there's a lot of different things that you can find in there to appreciate that. And you can kind of understand, like you said, what the film was originally supposed to be versus what it was. So yeah, I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you too, because that was the same thing. We did a Scream episode a couple months back, and Dave, well, I think it was actually last year, Dave had actually point out some things about Scream 3, and had me look at it in a different way. So I was like, all right, yeah, I give it a chance, and so it hasn't gone up in my Scream rankings, but I respect it more now. So just seeing some of this footage, it was kind of cool seeing, but I think everyone will enjoy it. Some of the links were shut down, but I know some of the footage has been going around on YouTube, kind of like split up in clips. So
Okay.
yeah, so if you want to try it, check it out that way. You can probably see it that way, but I wouldn't recommend like throwing a lot of links around and stuff because they're kind of getting shut down. And then
Be
so
careful. Yeah,
yeah.
that I've learned that the hard way for sure. I think, honestly, guys, like any cut of any Wes Craven movie that we could see now that's a different cut of something he did, post-mortem is exciting. So just knowing there's a different version of one of his movies out there, like we knew when Cursed came out, when Shout Factory put that out on Blu-ray, everyone was like, is it going to be his original cut with Skeet Ulrich? And no, it never happened. But I think us as horror fans, we're just going to eat up whatever we can get, and definitely happy that this saw the light of day for everyone to be able to see in some way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now you kind of touched on it earlier. We were talking about Scream 7. Radio Silence kind of moved on from the Scream franchise to focus on some of the Universal monster films that they're going to create, which has opened the door to Christopher Landon, who is set to direct Scream 7. He directed both Happy Death Day films, which I'm a fan of, Freaky, and Paranormal Activity films. So what do you guys think about Christopher taking the job?
I think that sounds something like an exciting development. I mean, we've seen what Radio Silence has done with, the last two films. I think some people have really enjoyed them. Some people, maybe didn't connect with their view of it, but I think it's interesting just to see different people's takes. I mean, we'll never see Wes Craven's take again, obviously, but we have that to always enjoy. So I think it's now like something that maybe other people can handle it and just appreciate the different visions they have. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as soon as it was announced, I kind of knew behind the scenes a little bit that he had been talked about. Apparently, I was told that the deal had already been made like months ago. And just that Radio Silence had said, listen, we've kind of done our thing on this. Like, we want to move on from it. It was their choice. A lot of people were mad, like they were, thrown off. They weren't thrown off the project or anything. They decided they wanted to focus their efforts on other stuff, which makes sense. You made 2 Scream movies. I get people being upset at the same time. Like, why don't you finish your trilogy? But you know what? I think they set it up perfectly for someone new and fresh to come in and do something else. I think their flavor is it permeated throughout the last 2. Specifically 6 felt way more like a Radio Silence Scream movie than the previous one. They had that requel they had to jump over where, #4Wes, that whole thing that they did, which I felt was very, I felt like it was true to what Wes would have wanted or hoped for in terms of like a reboot / requel. But you know what, like, as you said, Brandon, like Happy Death Day, the sequel, they were both fantastic. I loved Freaky. I loved it. I think the sensibilities are there for Scream. I think that, the juxtaposition of horror being scary and having humor, it's all there. So I think we're in for a treat. I think he's the right guy for the job. So I'm extremely excited. Like, at this point, Dave, like you just said, like, Wes's time is over.
Yeah.
Williamson hasn't even written the last 2. So there shouldn't be any argument here. Like, let's let new eyes on this thing. It's at this point, gonna be an ongoing thing probably until our kids are old. Scream's we could see from the last 2 movies, they're very profitable. They're just going to keep making them. So, hey, why not see new eyes on these things and have new creative people behind them? Like, I'm all for it. As long as they do something new and fresh with them, I'm there for it. But at the same time, I'll say this: give more than 1 year in between them, please.
Exactly.
I know in the 80s, every year a new Friday the 13th would come out. When we were younger, a new Saw movie would come out every year. They're kind of different than that. We need a little bit more time to breathe. Give us at least 2 years in between them.
That's what I was saying, because about part 4, I think that's what kind of like helped that series out, because they took 10 years off, you know what I mean? So, and it was like, oh God, Ghostface is back. And then so now it's just like, okay, like, it's like, what are they going to do now? And then,
I wish they hadn't waited that long though, because I'll never forget it, man. I was there for opening night, Scream 4, and I shit you not, I sat in my seat and turned around and there were like 13 people in the theater. It hurt me.
Oh man,
it hurt me bad. I was like, no, they waited a little bit too long. But at the same time, I understand why they did. But yeah, give it a little bit of time in between. That's what I'm hoping for a lot of these upcoming franchises, where they're, like Talk to Me, for example. I don't know if that's coming up in your list here, but it's another thing where don't beat us over the head with something so good so quickly to make us, give us time to forget and give us time to miss it a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. But I think the direction that they are going to go with Talk to Me, like, as we kind of like talked about it and like in a review, it's going to focus on the other hand. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm definitely down for seeing that, but it would be cool to probably see that in another like a year and a half or two, but like
So,
not.
I mean, is the other hand, like that's happening simultaneously? We already saw.
Yeah, it should take place probably somewhere else. And I can probably see how, how the guys always kind of went back and forth through from Australia to America, and the California because they stayed down here with their friends, with like Logan Paul and everyone, so I can see them doing an American twist on it, and kind of like rolling that way. So I don't know. I'm definitely down for it though. So
Yeah.
The movie opens itself up to so many different interpretations,
mhm,
especially socially and environment wise. I loved the ending where it's like this thing could pop up anywhere and it
mhm,
could affect any different space in the world. And that's why I went off on a limb and said, listen, this could be the new Nightmare on Elm Street. And yes, I
mhm,
said the Philippou brothers were the perfect choices to helm a new Nightmare on Elm Street. We know
mhm.
that's coming soon, eventually. Like they're gonna get it out there. These guys are the
Yep.
right guys to do it if it did happen. I don't know if they want to do it. But it's ripe for interpretation. I think there's so much more you could do with this, different cast of characters, different locations, just to make it more interesting for sure.
Yeah. Now, are you ready to see a new Freddy remake
I'm
again?
ready.
You ready?
Here's my thing. I've been saying this since the last remake. Um, and when you do the actual research and you listen to Platinum Dooms and the people that made that movie, they knew they made a mistake. They got someone involved to make the movie that didn't want to make it.
Mhm.
They liked what he did in music videos. He refused to make the movie continuously until they just offered him a paycheck he couldn't refuse, and he made a movie that he didn't have his heart in. And it's not Jackie Earl Haley's fault. It's not Rooney Mara's fault. It's not any of the cast's fault. I mean, they're doing their best with the material they're given. And I know that recently in the Twitter sphere, it's become a thing now where it's very popular to champion the movie. I myself like the first 15 minutes of the movie legitimately.
The diner scene.
Yeah, I love the
Yeah.
diner. As soon as he
Diner scene's
slashes
good.
into the screen and you see
Mhm.
the title, that's where the movie goes downhill for me.
Yeah.
But I love the opening of the movie, and I think there was a lot that could have been done differently there. I think you just have to find the right filmmaker that wants to make one of these movies, someone inventive. And I think Nightmare on Elm Street, much like we were just talking about, Talk to Me, the possibilities are endless with today's technology. We haven't really seen anyone break through those boundaries in the way that we could with that creativity.
Yeah.
In at this point, it's just a bidding war for who actually can get the rights
Right.
to the thing. Now, I've also been very outspoken in the sense that I don't care if Robert comes back. I saw him come back in the Goldbergs, and that
Yeah.
solidified to me. I don't ever need to see him put on the fucking fedora, the green and red sweater, and the claw
Yep.
again. I love him. I've met him. I was in the Fred Heads documentary. All my friends were the people that made that thing. So I'm very like a part of that world, and I get why so many people want him to come back. I was the guy you guys can see behind me when Michael Keaton got, he's returning as Batman. Of course, I was going to be excited about it. Of course, I championed it, and I was happy about it and very satisfied. It's not that I don't think Robert can't do it. It's just the fact that he seems like he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
He really just doesn't have his heart in it.
Yeah.
And so that's the question. And I'll ask you guys something on your own show. If you had to cast a new Freddy Krueger, you had to do it. You're sitting at the board meeting right now at Blumhouse or please, I hope it's not Blumhouse, but
Yeah.
whatever company gets it. And they're like, cast the new Freddy. Here it is in front of you. Who's on your list?
Wow.
You can start that off, Dave.
Yeah. Thanks, Brandon.
You gotta have at least one name, right?
To be
Yeah.
honest, like I will try to answer that question. I honestly don't want to see it.
You don't want to see it?
I don't. I love Nightmare on Elm Street films. I'm kind of good at that being what I know of Nightmare on Elm Street, and I don't really want to see something different because for me, it's like you probably experienced this too. It's like it's very like tied into my childhood. Like
Mhm.
I was a big Freddy fan. Like so like to me, there is only one Freddy. I wanted to like that remake. I think I even told myself I was going to like it no matter what, and then was very disappointed. I just don't see anybody else as Freddy. Like, to me, it's like seeing someone else as Edward Scissorhands. I just don't think I could.
Yeah.
And, we actually applaud Nightmare on Elm Street films to enjoy of him. I don't know that I would want to see it, but I will try to come up with someone. Just,
again, this is you don't have the choice here. You're working for this company.
You have to come
with
have to.
Yeah, I mean, like I'll say, for example, for a number of years, Kevin Bacon showed interest in doing it, and I said he'd be a fine choice. Like,
I think he would.
Or there's a couple other people that are always brought up. I get what you mean.
Could David Howard Thornton do it?
That would be.
Yeah, because he has like that Joker background, you know what I mean? So,
and he has so many different personas that he can, like, he is a true like theater person. Like, I feel like he could, like, we know a couple of different sides of him, but I think there's so much more to him that he could probably do that we haven't seen yet. He might be up there on my list. He might be somebody I would be interested to see audition.
And it all depends too, like what Freddy are you going for? You know what I mean? Like, if it's not going to be the part one, or is it going to be something like Dream Warriors? Are you going to look for someone that's like more of a comedy, driven guy? Like, what are you looking for? But what I would kind of put on the table is kind of do it how they just did Candyman. Have someone completely different, and then kind of have Robert kind of show the past, like come up with a new story about how someone gets into your dreams. You know what I mean? Something along that line, so that you don't step on, Robert's legacy. So that's the way I see they should do it.
Constantly comparing.
Brandon, that's the perfect choice. And what you just explained is identical to what Robert said he would do.
Yeah,
that's basically what I've heard is on the table for these studios right here, where Robert said, I don't want to come back. I don't want to play the character, but I'll be involved.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope that he doesn't get the shaft like Tony Todd did in that new Candyman, where he's in the fucking movie for 2 seconds and you hear his voice, then the movie fucking ends. I was like, how dare you do that to Tony Todd? Please,
I know that
disrespect me that terribly.
I know it was probably like disrespectful, but like in a way, I think it was kind of like, how else do you do it? Like, you know what I mean? It was like they showed him at the like one of the most important scenes at the end. So it wasn't kind of like it was just like some cheesy scene. It was like at a point that it kind of like opened the door, and it kind of like you were happy because it was just like, all right, there he is. But like you said, it ended. But I think that it made an impact. You know what I mean? Because what would you do with Tony like for a full movie? You know what I mean? Like, how many scenes would you want to put him in?
I would have had him been the old Candyman through the whole movie. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, and from film, personally, right? It's like, yeah. And I think that's the thing, like, kind of with Nightmare on Elm Street, like, no matter what, you're gonna have like 2 different like groups of people, like people that if he is only playing a small role, and there's new people, like there'll be people that are okay with that, but then other people that are like, no, I want him in the whole film. So I think it would be really hard to appease everybody in this day and age, any franchise that we bring back.
But you have to do it the right way, though, because look, we just got in Halloween Ends. I wasn't happy with that.
I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
You got to think about this too. I mean, he came back, and the last season of Stranger Things we got last year, I loved it. Vecna was like this new Freddy. It was rumored that Robert was playing that character early on. Then they're like, oh, he just plays a guy in jail. Yeah. It's one of his best performances of his entire career. It's very short, small, but you could see how influenced they were by Freddy Krueger. That's why, to me at least, like, I'm not saying take that concept and ape the shit out of it and do something new with it and call it something else. I can see why and how that it could be done properly. That's why I'm not totally against Robert returning. It's just the mindset knowing he doesn't want to. I mean, if he wanted to, I mean, he's still in great shape. If he wanted to lose like 20 pounds and, it's possible. I mean, Michael Keaton did it for Batman. He fucking put the suit on. He was still the same dude. You wouldn't notice that he skipped a beat other than he looked older. With Robert, it's makeup over his face. Since that he doesn't want to do it, kind of thing. I love always talking about this. It's always interesting hearing different perspectives from fans, because let's face it, whether we want it to or not, it's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Next big one to happen.
to your point, I think actually now, if they are going to do it, now is sort of the perfect time, because there's a whole younger generation that just watched that Stranger Things.
Yes.
They were into that character. That character, yeah, it definitely is like Freddy inspired, and I think some of the kids are. This is ironic because I literally had like a 9-year-old kid that I do talking about. We were talking about Stranger Things, and he brought Krueger because he knew that the character was like inspired by it. Having a
Mhm.
I'm Freddy Krueger, and I'm
Kids are
like
smart,
talking
man.
about that.
They know. They
Yeah,
pay
Yep.
attention. So
I think that now is the time for them to, and it's probably going to have to be geared towards like a newer audience, which is probably going to piss off us old folk. But that's fine because like the new generation does need their own, films. They can't just always have ours to go by. They want films that they connect to. So
I mean, there were even
get,
jokes about the franchise in the new Evil Dead movie, which I won't say what I felt about that movie, but in Evil Dead Rise, they're talking about like, hey, do you want to come watch the Freddy movies? Like even the shitty ones. And then he's like, there are no shitty ones.
yeah,
I just thought it was funny, like they're definitely in the zeitgeist. People, people are aware, like young kids watch them. I know my kid, when she goes to parties and shit, she's like, oh yeah, they're watching all the Freddy movies. Like they're still relevant. That's why I think now I just want to see the character come back in some way, shape, or form. Sorry for going off on a tangent there, but
Oh no, you're good.
I think it's just,
can talk about
especially
Freddy all day.
with
Yeah.
guys like you, like in this environment, like I love it. It's just it needs. I think it just needs to be seen. Hopefully, we'll see what happens.
And speaking about Freddy, we'll be hanging out with Robert in a few weeks down over at Terracon. So we'll be down over there in Terracon, and we will have a new Buttonwoods Brewery Friday Nightmare on Elm Street themed beer. So
Yes.
so it'll be cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna have our own beer themed with the Nightmare on Elm Street called Dream Warrior. So
Yeah,
That's
the
awesome.
can art. The can art is the Freddy sweater, so it's a pretty cool looking can, and sitting on my windowsill when I drink a bunch of them. So yeah.
All right, Dave, you want to get into this next film?
Yeah, so we had a bunch of trailers come out that I want to kind of run by you guys, check out your thoughts. So I guess the first one we can talk about is the last voyage of the Demeter. That's how you say it.
Demeter.
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 I didn't see it. Brandon, I don't think you got to check it out yet either.
Yeah, I didn't check it out.
Justin, you've seen it?
Yeah, we
talked
reviewed
about
it last week. Yeah.
Can you share some of your thoughts?
If you like Hammer horror movies, and you like old-fashioned vampire flicks, you want a CGI vampire floating around your movie, it may be for you. Honestly, it has a lot going for it. It's very atmospheric. Performances are fantastic in the movie. It actually did deserve a much better box office than it received. The vampire design is fantastic, and I wish they had done a beautiful practical effects makeup job on the actor that I apologize, I forget his name, that wanted to play the character. He actually said his lifelong goal was to play Nosferatu, and they picked him to play Dracula in this movie, and he looks amazing. But you get very little practical makeup in the movie. There are some moments of fantastic suspense, and it goes for the throat. It's bloody as fuck. Like it's not. This is not. It doesn't shy away from any of that stuff. Plot holes galore. But like I really appreciated what they were trying to do with it. I swear to God, and I'll go down in history as saying this, had the movie been titled Dracula on a Motherfucking Boat, it would have made money. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, Dave, you had a hard time. The last voyage of the, seriously, like, again, it sounds like a very pretentious title. I get that that's what the thing is, like the story, sure, but seriously, call it The Last Voyage of Dracula or something.
Yeah,
Dracula, because I'm telling you, like, I took my kid went with me and her boyfriend, and they were like, it was all right. I didn't know Dracula was in this. I was like, did you see the trailer? Yeah. I was like, and she's like, but that didn't look like Gary Oldman. That's what she fucking said to me. And I go, that's true, because this movie was conceived during the making Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. That's where they came up with the idea, and the movie had been in development hell since the 90s. Or they were like, well, what about this story? What about what happens on the boat? It's an amazing premise. I mean, think about Jason Takes
Takes
Manhattan, like
Manhattan.
what he does
Yeah.
on the boat. It's like what happens on the boat's kind of interesting now in retrospect. But there's just too much that doesn't work for me. So I did not recommend that one. But I at the same time, like I still think that people that like those old fashioned, I mean, there's something for everyone. And at the same time, I think that people were like, this should have been released in October. No, it shouldn't have. It was placed perfectly where it was. It was just, there aren't that many people out there that want to go see an R-rated, old fashioned,
Yeah.
English speaking, old fashioned styled horror movie anymore. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like I heard so many mixed reviews on the film, but you kind of just put it in perspective on how it has the Hammer, everything that everyone that loves Hammer films would love about it, and there's some things that people wouldn't love. So it's just definitely like one of those films. When I had seen it, I'm like, all right, I don't know if I'm gonna go see this in theater, but I'll wait probably to get it on VOD or something like that to check it out. But yeah, it wasn't on my list to really just run to the theater to go check and see. So
I was excited when I first saw the say that, and then my excitement kind of waned as the release, and I kind of just was like, I don't know, I'll catch it at some point. It feels like if this came out in early 2000s, it would have probably have done well because vampire films were like everything in the early
Underworld
2000s.
and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, like the one Queen of the Damned, all that's like, I feel like we were really obsessed with vampires for a while, and that excitement about vampires it's kind of like zombies, it's like at the time where zombies were, and that kind of waned, and we're into, I don't know exactly what it is right now that we're experiencing.
I don't. Who the fuck knows what we're in? Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
also it does hurt the movie slightly. Spoiler alert for those that haven't seen the movie, but I mean, he stays in creature form the whole movie, so it's not like you never see like. I was waiting for the end to be like Gary Oldman to do like a cameo, but it never happens. It's just like literally, and I like the idea.
Is he on a boat the entire movie?
He's on
that voyage from
no. There's the boat that's like the majority of the movie. There's the opening where he's not in a boat. There's the end where he's not in a boat. I mean, because it's the story in between how he gets to where he gets to England.
Yes. Okay.
So that's why you didn't see an actor, because I don't know if they were trying to say like this is part of Coppola. Like it's technically not, but you know what I mean, like where you could fill in the gaps with the movie. But there's some cool stuff in it though. I mean, like I would definitely tell anyone that likes Dracula or those types of movies to check it out on VOD. I assume it's going to be one of those movies that does well on that format for sure, because people be like, oh, that's that new, yeah, sure, and they'll just put it on, kind of thing. Where it's just, August is always kind of like the last hurrah. We had the new Turtles movie, we had Blue Beetle this month, and it was the last spooky movie we got this month that was going to be released in theaters. So it did kind of hurt me a little bit to see it not doing well, and hearing you guys say it verbally, like being big, huge horror guys, like, I was going to just pass on that. That's the reason, that studios now are like, I guess we're not going to release these theatrically. Because, I mean, at this point, who else is going to go for these? An R-rated Dracula movie on a boat?
Yeah.
It's not 13-year-old kids. Like, they're not going to go out to try to make out for this movie. It's like, no, it's not Scream.
Yeah.
Couple other trailers that were released. I don't know if you guys caught the trailer from the Addams Family, their new film coming out, Where the Devil Comes. Did you guys get a chance to check that out? That's going to be a Tubi feature. Not sure exactly what the release date is. Either you guys see it?
You can go, Justin.
No, I have not.
Okay.
So are you familiar with their work?
I'll finally shut up here.
Are you familiar with their work though? Have you seen Hellbender?
Oh, of course, yes, yes, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
just have not had an opportunity to watch that though.
All right.
The
Yeah.
Tubi stuff, I feel like there's so many awesome shows out there right now that are covering all the Tubi stuff. So hell yeah to
Mhm.
them. Tubi's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're getting a lot of films right now and everything. So good for them for doing that. And I really think that this was a good choice on their end to connect with the Addams family, because I think everybody's really excited to see what else they have in store after checking out Hellbender. And I think it was uh Egg was their first feature, but Hellbender definitely was like, I think that started to really put them on the map.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this trailer looks really aesthetically cool. It's a period piece, it's like a lot of cool costuming. The camera effects look awesome. I was really excited to see it. Brandon, you said you got to check.
Yeah, you had put it on a page, so I was able to check it out. So I was like,
I don't know
definitely,
if you look at our posts, so I mean,
don't look at
I
the
don't want
post.
Hey, listen, I live in that world too,
yeah.
where it's like, did you see that? It was on our page. Oh, okay.
It happens sometimes. Sometimes we miss our own stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
Very
I'm
true.
but
definitely I'm definitely looking forward to check and see what's next because I was definitely blown away by Hellbender.
yeah,
So, just being able to connect with the family over the years and just seeing like everything that they've been doing and just taking everything to the next level with their music and fashion. I'm just happy for them and so I'm definitely going to support whatever they have that's going to release soon. So,
yeah.
definitely can't wait to check it out.
I mean, the fact that like a family is making films all together
Yeah.
and and having the success they're having, they're like awesome people. I'm really happy that this feature is going to be wildly accessible so everybody else can kind of check it out. And if you missed Hellbender, you know, I'm sure it's on Shutter. There's no reason not to see it.
Yeah.
By now, I think everybody has Shutter. There's no excuse. Um, Speaking of Shutter, this trailer that I thought was noteworthy, VHS 85.
Yeah. Definitely. I can't wait
You
to
guys see
check
it?
that out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone, I mean, if at this point you got to be excited for a new one of these movies for
Oh
sure.
my
Mhm.
God. The trailer looks awesome. They captured everything 80s in that trailer. I am so freaking excited for this movie. Like I love VHS films. Every I just love the concept, them different directors doing different shorts and the wraparound story I always find somewhat cool. Um, like they had like the 90s ones and now they're doing it to 80s. I just like the directions they're going with. I think that this is like going to be very exciting for me.
Have they released like a sheet of who's going to be involved in this project yet?
It's all over Twitter. I should have made a note of who the directors are. I
Hmm.
know that there's uh Mexican director that has a segment on there that continues to they've been posting about it a lot. I was checking that out. So I like that they're kind of going with some different cultural backgrounds as well. So
Hmm.
it's going to have some variety. I think that's going to be a cool way to go about it. But it looks interesting.
I'm down for it.
Yeah, I'm down as
Um,
well. I think the interesting thing is from these films is just seeing like who starts in them and kind of just like, blooms into like this big director that's now helming these bigger movies.
yes.
So I'm
Hmm.
I'm always there for these. I'm not always a big fan of everything I see from them, but there's always potential within every single one that I watch. And I know my co-host Jeremy is very close friends with a lot of people that have made some of the stuff involved in these. I will not
Hmm.
speak for him, but it's always great just hearing the excerpts from how these things work, and always going
Yeah.
to be there for this. Always
I,
going to be there.
I mean, we brought up radio silence in the beginning,
Yeah,
and
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah,
VHS, their segment in VHS was very cool. I think Adam Wingard had a
yeah.
segment in one of the originals.
Yeah.
David Bruckner, I believe. Like there was those. I was like, I followed all those directors forever. Like everything they did, I was like, because I was so connected to that VHS film. I love that one. So, yeah, no, it's very exciting. And there's a whole list of them that bother reading them off, but all mostly newer directors that I haven't really been able to catch their work of. So that's cool. We'll just continue to get introduced to new filmmaker, kind of see what they have in store.
Yep.
Very exciting.
And here's a trick. Here's that I don't know how I feel about, but R.L. Stine has a new adaptation coming out starring Dan and Chevy Chase, and it's called Zombie Town, and that's going to be releasing first. So that's right around the corner. It just caught the trailer just before we started recording. I can't say I'm very excited about the trailer.
I don't know. Dan agreed to this thing. He doesn't need the money. Chevy does need the money. Dan doesn't need the money. All he needs to go is set up shop at a fucking liquor store, and Ghostbusters fans, myself included, will just loop around the block for fucking 6 hours to have him sign one piece of Ghostbusters memorabilia, and he'll literally sell like 1 million bottles of his Crystal Skull vodka. I have a bottle of it over there. He doesn't, at the same time though, I digress a little bit. Cool to see them doing it. It doesn't look good to me.
No.
I'm not going to mention this because I'm actually meeting R.L. Stine next month. He's coming to Baltimore for a book thing, and I was like, I have to go. I'm going to wear my Carly Beth haunted mask.
There you go.
He's probably going to be terrified though. But no, in reality, like when I heard this was announced, I was like, Nothing But Trouble 2.0. No. Because Chevy's got, we all know, like at this point, he's got memory loss, he's got some health problems, like he can't do that much, so he can't get much work either with anything other than like a Christmas Vacation reunion, or he's doing those things. Cool to see him back, but when what I saw from it, I was like, it looks like what you'd expect, I guess.
Yeah, I just seen the poster art to it. I didn't see the trailer, so hopefully, I don't know, hopefully it takes off and it's something that the kids will enjoy. So
definitely kids, like geared towards kids from the trailer. That was clear to me. I was like, oh, this looks like something that might be fun, but like it felt like we could enjoy that just as much as a kid. I didn't really get that vibe when it will surprise us. My issue is like 1,000 R.L. Stine books I would love to see adapted, and like,
right,
this isn't one of them. So
this isn't one of them.
Any of his teen novels, please, like Babysitter 1, 2, or 3, The Boyfriend, the Girlfriend, like any of these like teen ones, I would love to see them adapt, other than just like the Goosebumps books. So I don't know.
Yeah, it honestly shocks me that, we know we had the Fear Street thing that happened a few years ago. I'm not gonna mention how I felt about those, because that's a whole other tangent I'll go off on. But at the same, it was cool to see that being interpreted and licensed, and they're doing something with that. But to your point, like there's so much, we look at how much Stephen King stuff we've had over the years. R.L. Stine, there's so much stuff that's ripe for interpretation visually on film. It would be great to see so much more done, and I would love to have that happen.
The same, and the same goes for Christopher Pike.
For sure.
They just they did a Netflix series. Was it the Initiation? I think it was. But there's like such a big catalog that they could like start to look at for adaptations, and I feel like they're just missing the mark on those. Like they're not hitting those up, and I think people would be excited about some of those titles.
A lot of great stuff already written that they don't have to do that much work with. But instead, and you know what I'm going there.
Yeah. But the way I look at this too, it's like I think that R.L. Stine probably stepped up a little bit more in this decision. Like he's probably good friends with these guys and was saying, "Hey, I want you guys to be a part of this project." You know what I mean? Because you look at the age, who could they have picked? You know what I mean? They already had Jack Black for the last films. So it's like, okay, like what are we gonna do? We're gonna go with someone else, or let me choose someone that I enjoyed watching on the screen, So I think that's where R.L. Stine probably like just jumped into it.
Cast right there. Yeah.
Huh?
Come on. He picked his dream cast right there.
Oh yeah. I always wanted to work with these guys.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s when they wouldn't get on the show.
So we got about a week until that movie comes out. So I'm sure we'll be hearing soon enough how that does. But I'd be running to the theater for that one either, to be honest. And then
I
that
could
brings
check
me
out.
to the RoboDoc, which is going to be on
Yes.
Screenbox. So that's a 4-part docu-series. Couple of familiar names are attached to it: Christopher Griffiths and Gary Smart, who we're able to
Yep.
have on the show already. You guys might remember them from the Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story, as well as the Pennywise doc, which I absolutely loved, and I can't say that enough. So that's going to be coming out August. It's a 4-part, so August 29th, and then the last installment I think is on September 19th. And the whole idea is that it's going to be just taking an in-depth look at the RoboCop film, the 87 action classic. So
Long time coming with this. I already pre-ordered the
yeah.
Blu-ray.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Much like you guys, you probably also got the opportunity sent to you for interviews and
Yeah.
Yep.
covering this. Unfortunately, we don't have the schedule to do it, but which really fucking upset me because this one
Hmm.
has been in the making for so long, and I know why it took so long because they were waiting to get Peter, and he was like the last thing they needed to get, and he said no to it like a million fucking times. And then once
Yeah.
we heard they got him, it was really exciting to hear. And I loved the It documentary.
Yeah.
I've watched it like 5 times. I shit you
Yeah.
not, and I don't watch stuff that often anymore.
Right.
And I'm not, and I don't even hold that as my favorite interpretation of that story, but I just love hearing them talk about the making of it,
Yep.
Hmm.
especially Tommy Lee Wallace and all of the cast and crew and stuff. This is gonna be, I think, one of the best documentary series about any making of any movie ever made. Like from what I've seen, the amount of work they've put into this thing. I mean, RoboCop is culturally such this important thing to all of us. So
Hmm.
I can't say enough how excited I am for this thing. Like I just,
Yeah.
can't wait to sit down the moment that it lands and watch as much of it as I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I was already able to check out the first episode. So for fans that are looking forward to it, I think you're definitely gonna be happy with all the work and everything that's gone into it. Like Dave said, it's 4 parts. I each episode's probably around like an hour long,
Okay.
so just get ready. Like I said, I finished the first episode, so I'm gonna kind of like wait because I have like a few other shows and other things that we're doing. Like you said, like with
Mhm.
you being busy to take the interviews and everything like that, it's like we have other movies and everything that is sent to us, but this is
Yeah.
definitely something that like I want to sit down and give my attention to because growing up with RoboCop, it's definitely one of those films, that are classics. So,
Yeah. I love the idea that they spread it out into like a 4-part series rather
hmm
than like this 4-hour long doc that you have to sit and watch like that it's segmented out. I think that's digestible.
hmm
And
Yeah,
the thing
it's so hard to do that now, I think, for
yeah,
anybody.
who has 4 hours to dedicate to anything? But the thing you said, Justin, like about the them getting all the interviews, that's the thing I appreciated the most about the Pennywise one was how many different people they were able to contact, and like you could just tell they really put all the effort into making sure to get everybody's perspective, and
Yeah.
that's what we're going to be expecting here. I know that that's
Yeah,
like
I mean, our
they
with that
did
one,
with it.
our writer in Boston, Brady Cloven, he got to see it like I think a month before or something like that, and he wrote a review, and they shared it, and they were very happy with it, and they used one of his quotes and stuff, and it was really exciting to be a part of that, and just to be able for him to be able to see. I was like, no, I want you to do this. I mean, I had the opportunity to see it early, and I said, you take this
Yeah.
because I know how important that book was to him,
Yeah.
growing up as a young kid and stuff. And these filmmakers in general, like just always everything gonna be excited for, but particularly like you said, Dave, this it just RoboCop. I mean, I remember being a kid and going to the video store and seeing the giant standee. My parents being like, "You can't watch that; it's rated R." And then I somehow like conned my grandmother into renting it for me, and then she got it home and she opened it to put it in the fucking VCR, and she goes, "This is rated R. You can't watch this." And I was like, "So there's a cartoon," and she let me watch it, and she
Yeah.
bought me the RoboCop helmet and stuff for the cartoon. So there's so much that goes along with that movie. I just can't wait to see what they unearth.
Yeah.
So Brandon, hearing you got to watch the first episode and hearing that it was really good, that makes me even more excited to watch it.
Yeah. because that's the thing. It was like I said when I looked at it, I was thinking it was probably going to be like an hour and like 45 minutes, 2 hours the most. But then I seen it was like four of them. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna click on those links later. But definitely look forward to it. Finishing it. Um, it was funny. I seen a RoboCop meme the other day. It was like this guy died, but he still had to go to work, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Classic
like,
meme, classic.
yeah. So definitely for fans, if you're not familiar with RoboCop, definitely go to check that out because I think that's all the films are probably going to stream on Screenbox also too, like at a certain time when this releases. So definitely check it out.
Yeah. So that wraps up some of the trailers that I want to pick you guys' brains about. Justin, before we kind of wrap up this episode, is there anything that happened this month that you want, as well as plug everything that you can for yourself? While
I
you're
mean,
here?
you guys actually nailed it on the head. Really, you did. I mean, everything that's relevant right now, in particular, Billy Friedkin passing and being able to attend his vigil, what we have on the docket for stuff upcoming. I dare say you guys are very on the ball.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
You.
for sure. I know what you guys are doing. I pay attention to what you guys do on social media, particularly Instagram. You're always crushing it. You guys seem like you're one of the best out there doing it. So for me, at
Thank you
least,
for
it's an
that.
honor to be invited on to do this with you guys. In terms of what we're doing at Epic Film Guys, next week I will not be podcasting. I'll be at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater for Camp Blood. It's a yearly ritual for me. So if your listeners are going to be there, which I assume a lot of them will be, Friday night, come say hi. I'm hard to miss. The green fucking hair, it just tells you everything. You're gonna know it's me. But we're gonna be covering everything that we possibly can. The upcoming spooky season, if you will. I'm just super excited to bring out all the stops and some surprises and stuff. You can find us at Epic Film Guys everywhere, literally every social media platform: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads. If I forgot it, it's because I don't know how to count how many of these things we're using. And we're involved on every single podcatcher there is available. But thanks again, guys. Seriously, thank you very much.
No
And
problem.
and again, going back to what you said in terms of the future, the Exorcist believer. If you need someone to come on to talk about that with you, don't forget my number. I'll
Okay.
be happy to be on for that one.
Yeah,
Get
we're
up
gonna have
on
to
that.
put together like a big group conversation about that. Have at least probably like six people on or something.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of voices that'll be necessary for that one, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
because
Awesome.
there's some people that defend him, so we'll see.
All right. Well, Justin, thank you so much, man, for joining us. This was an absolute pleasure and a lot of fun, and just great talking horror. And it's always a good time. So thank you.
Oh, of course.
Everybody will be back next week. So great day. Hope you enjoy this recap, and we'll be doing another recap next month. See you then. Good night.
Take it easy.